And good evening and welcome to the Scanner Guys Live. We're live in our Cincinnati studios. Welcome to the show. If you're watching us for the very first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And definitely follow us across all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We're across the board on all of our social media platforms, so look out for the Scanner Guys. Tonight we've got a really great episode. This episode doesn't take a lot of work on my behalf. A couple months ago, we solicited for shack photos. So tonight we highlight some of those viewer shack photos. So this really gives you the ability to kind of learn some tips and tricks of what other people are doing to build their shack. So we'll take a look at those photos, learn a little bit more about our fellow viewers. So I'm really excited for the show this evening. Great to see you all checking in this evening. We greatly appreciate you watching the show live. If you're not able to watch the show live, of course, as soon as this is done airing tonight, you can always watch it right here on our YouTube channel. So let's take a look at what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about viewer shack photos. This is our 2023 edition. Of course, being June, we may do this again later in the year. So we're going to take a look at some of your scanner setups. So we're really looking forward to tonight's presentation. We got a fairly decent amount of photos in this round, and some people actually wrote in great detail, what their shack is, what's in it and what they monitor and so forth. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we want to make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to our social media on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now since you're on our YouTube channel, and make sure you give this video a thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate that as well. You can shop our swag store online at thescannerguyshow.com. You can sign up for the newsletter and, of course, contact us. Now, I have a couple of emails that I've seen in my email box that I haven't gotten to yet, and I've been super crazy busy. So if you do email me, be patient. I also have a full-time gig, and plus everything that I do with this show, along with the Train Aficionado show. So, bear a little bit of patience with me in case I don't reply back to you right away. But we greatly appreciate, you guys writing in and such. So, Train Aficionado, you want to make sure you tune into the next show. It's going to be Wednesday, July the 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be talking about, I'm not sure. I haven't decided the topic as of yet, but we'll announce it. It'll be the day after the 4th of July, so we'll be here live maybe in studio or out in the field. We may do another live shot somewhere in the Cincinnati or Kentucky area. We are posting any events that we have for Train Aficionado on the website, upcoming shows and also in-person events. And you can check out those events at trainaficionado.com/events. Great segue right here. We do have a rail fanning meetup coming up in July the 8th of 2023 at 9 a.m. to noon. We're meeting up at the Ludlow Rail Fanning Tower. That's Saturday, July the 8th from 9 a.m. to noon. That is in Ludlow, Kentucky. So come out, even if you're a scanner enthusiast, it'll be a great time. You'll be surrounded by a lot of people that use scanners, in this case, for rail fanning, and some of those actually listen to public safety as well. But come out to the Ludlow Rail Fanning Tower. I'll be there from 9 to noon. Be a great time. Great spot, just south of Cincinnati along the Rat Hole line. So certainly it'll be a good time. And the pavilion's really cool. It's up almost a little over 2 stories, and you're overlooking the line. You can actually see the bridge going right into Cincinnati. It's the Norfolk Southern main line that runs from Chattanooga, Tennessee, all the way into Cincinnati. So definitely a great spot. So let's get to the main topic of tonight's show. we are taking a look at viewer shack photos. We're taking a look at those great setups. I love being able to look at tips and tricks that people have done to be able to create their shack. So this one is a shack submitted by Ronnie, and he has the Spectrum Force desk stand that'll be able to hold 4 scanners. You could see there that he's got several different radios there. He's got a 536, which is using to monitor public safety. The second radio he's using for civilian and military aircraft and federal listening. As many of you know, a lot of the federal channels are digital, so good thing you got the 996 doing that job. The third scanner is the BCT-15X. Great scanner. He's using this for fire tone out for the local firehouse. So that's a really cool feature on a lot of the Unitons. You can actually program it so you can listen to fire tone out. What that basically means is when they tone out, the audio will pop on the radio and you can hear the broadcast. Very much like a Pletron pager. It's turning your scanner essentially into a Pletron pager. So of course he'll get a notification of what's going on, the call, and then of course on his 536 he can lock down on the fireground channel and listen to the activity of that ongoing fire or incident. Then the last radio, he has a Radio Shack Pro 2096, and he uses this for whatever. So this is great. He's got a radio that he can use as an auxiliary for punching in frequencies or programming some miscellaneous stuff. Ronnie certainly is blessed with 4 radios here to be able to kind of break out the programming in his radio. Dale Osborne is actually reporting that the Forest Services out in California are moving to P25 and in Montana, which is interesting. And of course, in California, they have their own forest fire services as well. But yeah, nice setup, Ronnie. I see the dongle, the Wi-Fi dongle that connects up to the 536. So I'm guessing that occasionally you'll use your smartphone or your tablet as a remote head to be able to listen to this radio and control it in the other room. And the other cool thing there is our classic Scanner Guys logo on the mug. So thank you so much for supporting the show and watching each and every week. Also, you could see there that Ronnie is also an amateur radio operator, and he is into GMRS as well. And he's an avid watcher of both the Scanner Guys and the Train Aficionado shows every week. Ronnie, thank you so much for submitting your mobile shack. Let's take a look at Ronnie S.'s portable scanners. So he's got a wide array. He has, pretty much all the major brands. We can see there Radio Shack 96, the Pro 106, the GRE 800. He actually upgraded this, the firmware, to the Whistler 1080. Of course, he's got an SDS 100 and the not discontinued, Joe Bearcat's going to love that, the BC 125AT. It's going to be a sad day, Joe, when you do announce the 125AT is being discontinued, because it's been the ongoing joke in between Train Aficionado and the Scanner Guys. So he also has some AOR radios. So he's got the AOR AR 8000, and then the 8200, and then he has the DV 110. So as I said at the beginning of this slide, he's got a wide variety of radios, which is really awesome. And he's taken his 125 AT on Amtrak, and you can see it right there with a directory of the line and his portable scanner. So thank you so much, Ronnie, for sending in all these photos. You got a great setup, for when you're at home, and you got a lot of portable radios to choose from when you're out in the field or using them around the house. So thank you so much for submitting these photos. Brad W. Wrote me a long email. I'm going to skim through it right here. So he submitted some of his pics of his shack. He's definitely a Whistler fan, as you can see here. He's got two Whistler radios there. He's got the Whistler 1098 and the 1095. He has it connected up to his PC with a small USB audio sound card. Now, these are relatively inexpensive, and you're able to create a secondary sound card with one of these. So essentially, you have your onboard sound card with your computer, and then you can also get one of these little devices, plug it into a USB port, and it makes a secondary sound card. So if you were doing, let's say, a Broadcastify feed, and you had two different scanners and two different feeds, this would show up in the devices as a second audio card. And then when you do set up something on Broadcastify, you want this feed to pick up the onboard sound card, and then the other USB one to pick up the USB one. So these USB sound cards, he states they're only $3 or $4 a piece, are on eBay or in some of these other websites, and they have really good sound. He also uses the software that Whistler provides. As you can see there, he could see display of the scanner display on the screen, and he's using two of the USB data cables. So as you can see in the back, he's got his cables really tidy in the back there, which looks really really nice in the back of the radio. Very nice setup with your two radios. Certainly appreciate Brad you submitting these photos. We greatly appreciate you watching the show as well. Let's go over to the next slide and take a look at what we've got here. Wow, Mark, this looks really cool. He's got the large display digital clock right at the top. Clearly, from what I can see here, he's using some software to be able to do virtual screens of his scanner. That looks like ProScan. Clearly into aviation, which is another hobby that encompasses scanners. You have rail fanning, you have aviation, you have maritime, and of course you have, monitoring public safety, businesses, and so much more. But a really nice setup here. He's got a wide array of unit and radios from what it looks like. So he's got traditional clean slate scanners on the top row. Those are probably 996s or 15s. And then down the bottom, one of my favorites, the 536 HP. He's got two of those. And then he has, the cream of the crop, the SDS 200. And he has a external speaker there. Really nice. I mean, you guys, really have, whether it's a couple of scanners or a whole bunch of scanners, you got some really nice shacks. I can't say enough. And he's got several screens there, so he's able to, of course, monitor aviation. I'm sure he's able to do some web browsing on that main screen. It looks like he's got a couple of television feeds and a couple other things going on there. Looks really nice. Great setup. This is definitely somewhere where you can kind of relax and kick back and listen to the scanner. Rich A, look at you. You are rocking the desk stand for the portables. And it looks like you've kind of maximized all the space on the desk stand, excuse me. Wow, so I'm looking at it here. I see a lot of uniteds. So we've got, of course, the 436 HP. We've got a Unication radio. We've got a Whistler TRX1. We've got the SDS 100. We've got the Whistler 1040. And And then that's either I think that's more than likely a 125 AT or a that's a 325 P2. We've got right next to it, of course, you can't mistake it with a silver plate. The 396. And then we've got I think there's a 125 AT there, and there could be another 325 P2. So a lot of portable radios, and of course, where can you can't go wrong with the Home Patrol 2, which is there. And then that's just the portables. I mean, let's take a look at some of the base mobiles we have there. Let me take a quick drink. So we have, I'll take one of those. So we have several different mobile radios as well. So it looks like, a lot of Unitons I can see there. We've got of course, a Whistler. The TRX2. Now, the TRX2 is actually the only current available radio for sale that has a remote head as of right now. That's the only radio that has it. You could see the detachable plate in the front, and it's magnetic. So you get, with that radio, you do get a plate that's metal, and you would mount that somewhere in the vehicle. So you would put the remote head somewhere in the front. Maybe you put the actual body of the unit, underneath the seat. Looks like we got a CB radio that's locked in on channel 19. We've got, which I think is a 780 down below that. And then, of course, we've got a 996P2 and then an SDS 200. And just below that is the 536 HP. So a lot of great radios. I mean, a lot of fan favorites, that's for sure, of this show, and a lot of current radios. This looks like a really cool shack as well. You got everything easy to view, and you've got a lot of portable radios to be able to, take your favorite on the road or wherever you need to go. Rich A states that he loves all of his radios. He says they all have their strengths and weaknesses. They certainly do. So when you do have several radios like this, you'll typically program those radios with their strengths. Maybe some radios work really well on digital trunking. Maybe some radios work pretty well on railroads or aviation. You basically, when you have radios like this, you find the best role for each radio. Anthony S. Another great setup. Yet again, a lot of Spectrum Force desk stands on the show tonight. He's got of course, an SDS 100 and 200 in the photograph there. He has 996 P2, 536, and then maybe another 996 P2, I believe, in the screen. So lots of Uniton here. We clearly see that you're definitely a Uniton fan. And then we've got the Home Patrol 2, which has got the Rimtronics antenna with a 45-degree angle, to be able to pick up those trunk systems. And the great thing about Anthony's setup, it's right by the window, so if he's not able to put an antenna on the outside, he's got that out to be able to kind of, use the antenna on the Home Patrol 2 to be able to get some reception. Anytime that you're not able to put an antenna out and up, see if you're able to put your scanner or take a mobile antenna and put it on that windowsill just to be able to increase reception. It looks like it's right by a comfortable chair here, maybe a couch or a recliner. So great spot. You might as well be comfortable when you're listening to your radio. So Anthony, thank you so much for sharing your shack. Here's another cool shack. Of course, this may be Steve H's workspace. So, of course, he's got his computer right over on the left of him. And then he's got several Uniton radios here, all portables, and one base mobile. very popular tonight. The SDSs have been appearing in almost all the shacks tonight. We've got the 436 and either a 125 AT or a 325 P2, and then we've got a BCT 15X there. So definitely really cool setup. He's taken advantage of another Spectrum Force desk mount. This is for the portables. He's got every single radio connected up to maybe a multicoupler or an antenna. You can see the coax cable running down to each radio. And he also has a coax cable there in front of the radios. So I'm guessing if he's going to be hooking up a different radio, he has the ability to plug it in and get it connected to the antenna. So that's very smart. When you are creating your setups and you have extra space on that multi-coupler that you're using, buy an extra jumper. Have it just like Steve H. Maybe Steve's friend comes over, brings his scanner or her scanner, and wants to see how the reception is. And maybe that person's got a brand new scanner that Steve doesn't have. He can plug it into his rooftop setup if he's got one, and then have that cable there. That's a very smart move to do that. Just have, if you've got an extra spot on that multi-coupler, buy an extra jumper cable and have that there ready to go. Our good friend Dale Osborne. Now, this is his workspace, his command post. Originally, talking to Dale, this was down in the basement. He's now moved upstairs, so he's no longer a basement dweller anymore. So he's up in the his office is moved upstairs. He's got a lot of radios here. Of course, a lot of Uniden radios. And then, of course, we see a couple of Mother M radios in screen here, as you can see. A Motorola radio up on the top shelf. And it looks like there's one by the screens. Really nice, Dale. I mean, this is definitely a spot where you probably kick back and relax, listen to the radios, maybe play with the programming on some of your many Uniden radios. Looks really nice. Thank you so much for sharing this. Oh yeah, the other thing you can see on the screen that's over to the right, you can see he's using virtual control on many of his radios. So with a click of the mouse, he could, put it on hold or put it in scan. He's able to look on that screen and be able to see, everything that's going on all of his radios. So if he's doing something on that computer, he's able to see, just by moving his head just slightly, he's able to see what's going on in the scanner. So it's certainly another great smart move if you're able to set up your computer with multiple screens. Wow, this is cool, Steve D. You have a lot going on here. This is really cool. It's like night mode, and you have some blue lighting here, and you've got a classic scanner over there. You got some portables, and you also have a mix of Uniden and maybe that's a Whistler radio on the top, and then some Uniden radios there. I do see a Uniden Bearcat speaker as well. Another viewer that's interested in aviation. And yet again, Steve's got a screen that's dedicated to it. So he's probably monitoring on one of his scanners aviation. And he's able to look up at that screen and see those particular aircraft communicating. So really cool display. I really like how you have this set up. And the great thing about it, yet again, it's a great space to be able to listen to the scanner, relax, and go from there. Dave D shared his shack here, and it's got some classic Motorola speakers. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So classic Uniden speakers. These make for great scanner speakers. Yet again, another person that's using the Spectrum Force desk stands. He's got about 4 radios on there. He's got 2 996P2s. We got a BCT 15X and another 996P2. So huge fan of the clean slate scanners. So clean slate scanners require a little bit more work for programming, but they're awesome, and I highly recommend it. It looks like he's monitoring public safety from what I can see on the screen. And he's got a couple of portable radios, as you can see there. And I've seen this. A lot of people are starting to make some stands with 3D printers and selling them online. I was poking around the other day on Etsy, and I just searched for scanner stuff. And I was amazed that there was several people that were selling scanner stands that they made with their 3D printer, which is really, really nice. So I highly recommend checking out like Etsy or some of these other websites to see if there's any stands that are available for some of your radios. Clearly, we see a couple different styles there, and he's got a stand that works for those particular radios. Oh yeah, you know what I forgot to mention? Our friends over at the scanner school, there's a hat there. I'm a certified scanner nerd. So that's one of his hats that he has available at his shop as well. He's got a swag shop too. So this person sent me a whole bunch of photos, and this is really cool. So a lot of the vehicles that he's had over the years in different setups, and you can see just the migration to newer radios. He had in his first vehicle a BC785, a realistic radio, and of course you remember back in the day when XM and Sirius had their own receivers that you had to put in the car, because it wasn't a built-in thing back in the day. Now you can get a car and you activate Sirius or XM, or as it's known now, XM radio, Sirius XM radio, It's built in. But I had, back when I first got satellite, I did have Sirius radio, and I had one of those receivers. So his second vehicle got some newer radios in there, a 996 XT, and then his 536 HP, and he's using GPS scanning with his 536, and he also has a 996T. As you can see in the photograph, it's using the DIN mount, and then he's got a couple of various radios and such in there as well. Then he got a Dodge Charger, and then of course that had a bunch of different radios in it. And then he went to another vehicle where he basically went down a few radios. He consists of the 536 and a Yaesu. So this fourth vehicle that he went into, it kind of went down to less radios. And then I'm guessing that this is his current vehicle, the 2010 Charger police model. The dash was already modified. He was able to use the double DIN kit for his scanner, AM/FM radio, and then use the existing holes in the roof for his NMO antennas. So he's got a 2-meter antenna in the back for his scanner, stuck with the 536 HP, still has GPS scanning, and then he's got a 1820M radio as well. So very interesting. You can see how he had a bunch of radios in the beginning and then kind of went down to 2 radios. Kind of like, when I first started in the hobby, in my first vehicle, I had 1 scanner. And then eventually at some point, in various vehicles, I had 2 scanners in there. And now currently I'm back down to one scanner. Unless I bring a portable radio with me, then technically I have two radios in there. But there's one that's actually fixed into the vehicle. I've shared that in a couple of different shows. It's the 536 HP with my custom built mount for the radio that includes a external speaker. Wow, some really cool setups. And that completes our viewer shack photos for this round. If you're interested in sharing your shack photos, you can email thescannerguys@gmail.com. That's thescannerguys@gmail.com. We'll definitely try to do another one of these shows. I went looking through my email trying to find all the photos. Hopefully I was able to find everyone's that needed to be featured for this show. But yeah, certainly a really great for a lot of you to share your shack photos. Of course, my shack, I could actually show a little bit of it. It consists of these 536 HPs right here. I do have an SDS 100 right in front of me, and then I have a 15X that's also in front of me. Typically, what I monitor is railroads on my 15X that's in front of me, and then I have public safety on a couple of these radios, and then I also use one of these radios for fire tone out as well. So if I want to just kind of listen this, hear fire calls, and then I have, of course, the fire ground channels programmed into one of these radios. So if there's something interesting, I hear the female computer voice saying, structure fire, blah 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 blah, using fire ground channel 4. Then I lock in that particular channel and listen to the action of that scene. But yeah, I love these radios. They work great. I do have an 800 megahertz antenna that's no longer manufactured anymore, and this is no longer manufactured anymore, and it works great. I really wish they manufactured it. It's one of the few antennas. When I was working at Scanner Master, omnidirectional antenna works really, really well. Another thing I could show you right now, I'm actually charging this. But I got one of these student laptops at Micro Center. It was like $79 when I got it last year. And I needed a laptop to be able to program my radios. So I ended up getting one of those. And I use that because it's Windows. My day runner, computer-wise, is a Mac. So I'm using Mac. And of course, many of you know the hurdles of Mac. If you're a Mac user, programming software is not friendly to Mac. Unless you're using Parallels or something of that nature, where you're able to run Windows on your Mac. Rather than me setting all that up and taking up space on my Mac's hard drive, one of these inexpensive student laptops does the job. It's got Windows on it. It doesn't need a ton of horsepower to program your radios, and it doesn't need a ton of hard drive space either. So I would highly recommend that. I actually have two of those. They ended up marking it down to like $59 or something. A month or two later, so I ended up scrounging up one of those. So when I do my scanner class, I bring one of these for programming, and then I have another one that is used directly with one of my monitors here. I'm able to flip a switch and be able to look at that. And yeah, Arthur, he can testify to this as well. There's the brand of the laptop. He says it's great for programming software, for ham radio stuff and scanners. So if you're able to look online for this brand, or if you're lucky enough to be by a Micro Center, especially probably about July, they're going to start putting out some of their school stuff. And they want to be able to give students an affordable option for a laptop. A lot of people don't have $500 or $1,000 kicking around for a laptop, and a lot of times a student really doesn't need something that's crazy robust. They're doing their schoolwork. They shouldn't be using this for gaming. So, one of these are perfect. I can't say enough about it. What else can we chat about real quickly? So, of course, we've got some people doing some road trips. If you are doing a road trip, we have several videos on the channel that go up, tips and tricks for setting up your scanner for a road trip. So definitely look at some of those videos. They're certainly super helpful. And you may learn a couple of different things. Some of the tips that I've learned over the years, especially with GPS scanning, that is the hugest blessing, is to being able to have your scanner program itself as it's driving. So if you've got a database scanner, you can use the full database, or you can create a favorites list, and then in that favorites list you can do GPS scanning. If you're using a clean slate scanner, here's the deal with this. You need to program all the areas that you want to monitor, enable GPS scanning, and make sure you program or make sure what's in there is current for latitude and longitude for each location. If you are importing in from radioreference.com into a clean slate scanner such as a 15X or a 996, it will import in from Radio Reference that GPS data. So you want to make sure that it's there, it's enabled, and make sure it's accurate. And then once you get that all set up, then you can kind of scoot and use it in the vehicle. What an interesting question. He has a question. When I have my scanners next to my PC monitor, I notice it has some interference. Why is that? Dale, maybe you can kind of answer this, or Joe Bearcat. I know that some devices will radiate interference, just because of it being an electronic device next to another electronic device. I'm sure there's a huge technical reason for it. Even if you go, like for instance, my truck, when I go to certain gas stations, I pull up to the pump on certain frequencies, it'll pop up some interference and it'll make all types of crazy noises. The second I'm done getting gas and I pull away from the pump, that particular frequency that's getting hung up on by whatever magical electronic interference that's occurring at the pump goes away. But yeah, I mean, it's just like Joe mentions right here. You said it, PCs radiate RF interference, and that messes with other devices. It's just, unfortunately, you've got one electronic device next to another. So, super crazy, how you do that. Nigel, that I'm thinking about doing in the fall. I just have to figure out a way to be able to do it. So my classes typically for the rail fanning with a scanner class typically goes about 2 hours. So most classroom type of streaming services such as Zoom, Meets, and Google Hangout, when you're conducting a class with a bunch of people, the free editions only allow 45 minutes or an hour. So I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to do it without breaking the bank, to be able to have a classroom where it's virtual for those of you that are not in the Cincinnati, Ohio area that want to attend the class. The thing that I like about the classes, and it kind of sets it apart from the shows, is I'm able to interact, vocally with a live audience, essentially. They're able to field questions, have a back and forth conversation for the classes. And a lot of times, after the class, I'm able to spend time with the with the various students I have in the class, and answer additional questions, and sometimes, program some of their radios or assist them with programming their radios. So kind of, I could kind of take the class a little bit deeper. But, I'm definitely thinking of doing that in the fall. I just have to figure out the vehicle to be able to do that so I can get, 25 people in a Zoom call or something like that, and being able to have you guys sign up. I love doing the classes. It's a lot of fun. A lot of members of the Cincinnati Railroad Club attended the classes, some of which knew, a scanner is a helpful tool, well, trackside, and they learned a great deal, about, how it's a valuable tool, how it can be used, how it can be programmed. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly a great thing. Dale mentions, and this is definitely something good to keep in mind for listening to the 4th of July events. With the 4th coming up, you can monitor fireworks shows and what you can do is you can find what radio band they're on. You can also hear the big show as it's done. Many of them are done by fairly large volunteer fire departments, and they'll use secondary fire channels, which is really, really cool. So definitely, and you never think of that, to listen, to the operations of a fireworks show. So that's really, really a good thing to be able to take a look at. Dale's answering a follow-up question about filters. Whether filters can be used to reduce downlink interference. Dale actually replied back with this. Definitely, try doing some of those things. Yeah, it's just, the nature of the beast. When you're doing, all your electronic devices together, they don't play well with one another sometimes, and they'll make interference, with the scanner or what have you. So that's one of the natures of the beast. And the gas pump thing gets me every time. I pull up to the gas station, I got some railroad frequencies running, and then it creates some interference on the radio. So then I first thing I want to do is go to avoid or lock out. And I say, wait a minute, this interference is going to be over in a minute as soon as I'm done getting my gas. So let me just leave it alone, get my gas, and then I head off and I'm good. But yeah, I'm definitely wanting to do the show, Nigel. There's a couple of ways that I found a way that I'm able to do it, and I can have about 9 students on. So that may be what we do, and we'll have some sign-ups and see how well that goes. But that's something I'm thinking about doing in the fall. As people kind of return back to tinkering with their scanners, and of course, I hopefully will want to kind of sit here in the nice warm house in the fall versus after work. I want to go rail fanning and do that stuff, but definitely some cool stuff there. Let me just see what other comments we have here. Yeah, right here, this happens a lot. A lot of scanner enthusiasts end up getting their ham radio license. And some hams, go the other way around. They're a ham radio operator and they get into the scanner hobby. So it's a great way to kind of marry the two hobbies together. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, aviation and railroads and maritime, you may be a fan of those hobbies, and you get into scanning that way as well. I want to thank you for purchasing the merch that we have on our 2 websites. If you're a train aficionado or a scanner guy, thank you so much for purchasing the merchandise. We really appreciate it. Looking through some of the website, we've actually added some more products. So we've got stickers, t-shirts, windbreakers, just to name a few. So if you haven't checked out the store, please check out the store. Security is barking this evening. Check out the store, and we'll be able to see what you can get. And of course, it helps us go a long way. It helps us to upgrade equipment. I got a couple, I think a year or two ago, I got a brand new microphone here in the studio that connects up USB to my Mac. So I'm not using a soundboard anymore. The webcam that I'm on is something that we've upgraded over the years. And the other thing that we've done is, of course, a brand new streaming service. You're watching us in 4K on the website, or on YouTube, I should say. So in 4K, which is really cool. And this is a monthly subscription thing. So you being able to help with the with purchasing merch and such helps us to be able to deliver a higher quality show across the board here. We greatly appreciate that. Just taking a look at some of the other comments. Yeah, so somebody asked about, getting a co-host. It's a lot. It's a huge commitment to be able to have somebody co-host this with me every week, every other week for the Scanner Guys. So right now it's probably going to stick with me. It's just a lot easier to be able to do the show, solo, because it is a lot of commitment. Not only to do the show each and every week, whether it's Train Aficionado or Scanner Guys. There's promotion of the shows, there's slide decks to build. There's trying to, especially with the scanner topic, we've covered in the last, how many years we've been doing this, we've covered a whole bunch of topics, and I'm trying to find other things that we haven't talked about. And giving, shows that we've kind of covered a brand new spin. So, as of right now, yeah, we're not going to have another host, I would say. It's a lot of commitment. I know Dale, eventually he's going to be retiring, and I'm not too sure if he's looking for a gig. If he's this bored, he may want to join up. Occasionally, we do have Dale Osborne on as a guest host, and we appreciate that. So definitely we'll have to get Dale on again to guest host, because he's always great. He's a fountain of knowledge when it comes to various topics, not only on both sides of the radio, being on the two-way radio side of things is his day gig, and then of course being a scanner enthusiast, and then he's even has background in broadcasting. So a lot of cool stuff that Dale's able to bring to the table. We appreciate, him watching each and every show. A lot of times, in between Joe Bearcat and Dale, they're helping me answer questions along the way, because a lot of questions do come through the live chat. And we greatly appreciate that. Yeah, the K9 is co-hosting tonight. Yeah, that's Watson. I'm not too sure what's going on with the outside, but I think there may be another four-legged creature out there, probably a cat, that he's barking at out the window. And of course, it's probably on his turf, and he's not happy about it. Yeah, Watson keeps the studios safe and secure. That's for sure. That's for sure he does. Let me just see here. For people with antennas outside, be sure to ground them and hook them up to for lightning protection. Yes, I can't say that enough. You want to take the time to be able to ground your antenna, especially with a lot of these storms that roll through earlier in the week, or on the weekend, I should say. And then the Northeast got a whole bunch of storms. So the midsection of the country, sorry, man, sorry, I worked all day, so it's sometimes the words are not coming out right. So the midsection of the country over the weekend, there were several thunderstorms and tornado warnings and a whole bunch of things. Kind of went up and north, and then it made its way to the Northeast earlier in the week. So you definitely want to take the time to make sure that you ground your antenna and do it properly. The other thing you want to keep in mind, if you are prone to windstorms or, severe weather, you want to periodically check on that antenna twice a year. I recommend checking on it in the spring, early spring, and then checking on it again in the late fall. You don't want to check it in the middle of the summer when it's scorching heat, and you don't want to check it when it's cold in the winter and you've got snow on the ground. So you want to be able to check it early spring, late fall. You want to check, when you do check your antenna, you want to make sure if it's an antenna that has any elements on it, you want to make sure they're secure, they're not loose. You want to check your mounting gear, make sure that's all secure. You want to check the coax cable, where you're able to visibly see it, those connectors. You want to make sure everything is looking good. There's no cracks in the coax cable. The tape that you put around the connector to seal that, you make sure that's not coming off. If it is, reapply some brand new tape there. And then, of course, checking all that is going to prevent issues down the road. Now, you may get a hurricane. It may look fine from the ground, the antenna and the mount, but it may not be. You may want to look at the connectors and everything and make sure everything's secure. I mean, your wall mount, if you got a wall mount with a pole, it might be a little loose. Just take a wrench and tighten that up just a little bit and you'll be good to go. So definitely keep that in mind. That's definitely a good thing to do, is definitely check it and also ground it as well. Well, I thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We greatly appreciate it. As always, if you have any suggestions for shows, let me know. You can post it in, of course, the comments or email thescannerguys@gmail.com. But we'd love to see some show ideas from you as well. We greatly appreciate everyone that watches the show, whether you're watching it live with us or you're watching it after it airs. We greatly appreciate everyone that watches. I hope everybody has a great and safe 4th of July. Be safe out there. A lot of people are going to be traveling over the holiday weekend. And we'll catch you on Wednesday for Train Aficionado Live. And, of course, the following Wednesday, so the 5th, will be Train Aficionado Live. Then if you're in the Cincinnati, Kentucky area, come out to the pavilion in Kentucky, which I'm going to tell you about in a second, and meet me and watch some trains. And then on the 12th, we'll be back with the Scanner Guy Show. So let's go through a couple of slides before we wrap up things. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to post them in there now, but I'll share my screen and we'll do a couple of slides just to wrap up the show. So as always, the Scanner Guys are brought to you by viewers like you. I mean, you guys really make this show happen each and every week. Supporting the show by watching it. You also, go to our store, thescannerguyshow.com. You purchase swag, such as our hoodies, our stickers. We have windbreakers. We have a whole bunch of new stuff on there. So definitely check out the store. So we greatly appreciate that. Also, in every one of our broadcasts, down in the description, there is an affiliate link. The affiliate link, if you use that for Scanner Master, click on that and then you place your order online, we get a small percentage of the sale. That helps us as well. So the affiliate link is huge. So if you're looking to buy any scanner accessories, antennas, or even a brand new scanner, use that affiliate link. We would greatly appreciate that as well. Train Aficionado Live, as I just mentioned, we are back. We are live on July the 5th. I'm not too sure what we're going to do for a topic of discussion. I'm sure we'll announce that over the weekend. And we'll be live from 8 p.m. Eastern Time or 5 p.m. Pacific. Typically, the show runs about an hour. In case you're a new scanner Train Aficionado fan, you definitely want to check out Train Aficionado Live. And the Ludlow Tower, a couple of weekends from now, I will be at the Ludlow Rail Fanning Tower. Saturday, July the 8th from 9 a.m. to noon. Trainaficionado.com. You can read more about this event. And Ludlow, Kentucky. So we'll be there on July the 8th. I'm looking forward to it. So if you're in the area, come on, stop by. And I'd love to be able to watch some trains with you and hang out. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to our social media as well. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at The Scanner Guys. Make sure you shop our store. Contact us through the website. And also sign up for our newsletter as well. You can do that through the website. The show is the scannerguys.show.com, the website, and you can do all three of those things there. Tonight's show, we talked about your shack photos. Thank you so much for sharing those photos. We're looking forward to doing another one of these shows again, hopefully soon. Let me just see what's going on in the comments here before we wrap things up. Chugging the hot sauce because the mosquitoes just eat me up. Yeah, I hear you. Mosquitoes do the same thing to me. I don't know what it is. They chew me up as well. So a lot of times I'm doing that, that spray to kind of keep those mosquitoes away. But yeah. Well, a question here. Whistler TRX1. I want to know what the right settings are for Zeromatic, as well as how to find the settings on the DPS function. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I haven't used the TRX1 in quite a long time. That's going to be something I'm not going to be able to rattle off on the top of my head. I'm going to probably recommend looking on Radio Reference in the forum section and look those keywords up, for TRX1 and DPS function. You may find on there a thread of people talking about it. If not, start a thread. Unfortunately, that's really putting me on the spot because I don't use the radio as a daily runner, so I'm not 100% sure how to do that. And of course, my day job is not selling scanners anymore. So sometimes I have to go looking at the manual when doing that stuff. So definitely check Radio Reference. That's one thing. The TRX1, I can't remember how to do those things on that particular radio. I'm sorry. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this evening. I thank you so much for everybody joining. Could I make a video? Eventually, I think I could. I'll see what I can do, but definitely check out make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If I'm able to make a video, I'll certainly see if I can do it. I haven't done any videos on the TRX1. So, of course, I'm going to have to refresh myself and all the functionality of it and how to do everything with that. But there could be a possibility of making a video about it. But I like that suggestion. So hopefully I'll look into it. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope everybody has a great week and a safe and happy 4th of July. We'll catch you again on the Train Aficionado show next week on July 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Scanner Guys. Give us a thumbs up. Also, hop over to the Train Aficionado show. Subscribe and check out some of our videos over there. We've got some really good shows that have been airing in the last couple of months, so definitely check those out. Until then, be safe, and we'll catch you again right here on the Scanner Guys, and of course on every other week, the Train Aficionado live show. So have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.